Hello, welcome to BioGrades TV. If you're new here, please subscribe and turn on the notification so you don't miss our next video. How political parties started in Ghana. In 1957, precisely on the 6th of March, Ghana became the first British colony in Africa to attain independence. Instantly, this nation, with a rich history that had seen the rise and fall of great empires, became the symbol of hope and what was possible for the rest of Africa, which was under the dominion of one European colonial master or the other. But what happened in Ghana did not happen overnight. It was a long and turbulent journey to that point. Ghana, or Gold Coast as it was then called, became a colony of Great Britain in the 19th century. The Ashanti people, who today constitute the largest ethnic group in Ghana, controlled a large portion of the country before the arrival of the Europeans. When the Europeans came, they easily took over parts of Gold Coast and declared the area their colony, but the Ashanti people put up a strong resistance which became known as the Anglo-Ashanti Wars. Between 1822 and 1896, 4 wars were fought before the British finally defeated the Ashanti and their territory was officially declared a British protectorate. By 1901, all of Gold Coast had become a British colony. The British wasted no time in exploiting the rich natural resources of the once great African empire. Items like gold, metal ores, diamonds, ivory, pepper, timber, grain and cocoa were tapped and became great sources of wealth for the British. The British set up the required infrastructure to sustain their stay in the colony: transport systems, hospitals, schools, and the likes. Naturally, the local citizens began to embrace Western culture, sending their children to school. Promising young men, especially of Ashanti and Fante origins, went to Britain to complete their higher education at some of the top universities. A new Ghanaian elite gained the means and the desire to strive for independence through the British-styled education. One of such was the famous Kwame Nkrumah. The first body that was established to agitate for better treatment of the locals was the Aborigines Rights Protection Society, which was established by some of the educated elites to protest a land bill they felt wasn't in their favor. It was this protest that laid the foundation for political action that led to independence decades later. Much later, in August 1947, the first political party in Ghana was founded and called the United Gold Coast Convention, UGCC. Its founding members included J.B. Dankwa, R.A. Awono Williams, Eric Atto Nkrumah, all lawyers, and G.A. Grant, a wealthy businessman. The UGCC was highly critical of the colonial government and wanted self-government of their country. However, they were quite conservative in their approach, which didn't sit well with the party's general secretary, Kwame Nkrumah, who desired more drastic measures. Nkrumah had been invited from London to take up the position of General Secretary in 1947. He accepted the offer hesitantly, knowing he may not work well with its members. Indeed, his time with the UGCC was stormy, as he was perceived as being too aggressive in his approach. 2 years later, in June 1949, he broke away and formed his own party, the Convention People's Party, CPP. Unlike the UGCC, which called for self-government in the shortest possible time, Nkrumah and the CPP wanted self-government now. Nkrumah's style and the promises made most of the ordinary people love him. In him they found a leader they could believe and follow. So, when the February 1951 elections were held, his party won a resounding victory, even though he was in prison at the time, jailed by the colonial government. He was promptly released from prison and invited to become the leader of government business a position equivalent to the position of a prime minister. By that singular feat, the Gold Coast, though still a British colony, became self-ruling, the first British colony in Africa to achieve that. Ghana became fully independent on the 6th of March 1957 with Nkrumah as Prime Minister. When Ghana became a republic on the 1st of July 1960, Nkrumah became the first president. On the 24th of February 1966, Kwame Nkrumah's government was overthrown by the Ghanaian Armed Forces and the police. A National Liberation Council (NLC) was established to govern the country, with Lieutenant General Joseph Arthur Ankara as its head. The military continued holding the reins of power until 1979, when it handed over to a civilian in the person of Dr. Hila Liman of the People's National Party. However, civilian rule lasted for only 2 years before the military again took over power. Party politics didn't return until 1992, when Fleet Lieutenant Jerry Rawlings, who was the incumbent military ruler at the time, stood and won on the ticket of the National Democratic Congress (NDC) in the general elections to return to civilian rule. Since then, Ghana has experienced a stable democracy, which has seen one civilian government hand over to another. Ghana has its civilian president, Nana Akufo-Addo, of the New Patriotic Party (NPP). He was sworn into office on the 7th of January 2017. Ghana continues to operate a multi-party system with about 24 political parties as at 2018. However, the National Democratic Congress and the New Patriotic Party are the two most dominant parties. What have we missed out of this history? Let's know in the comment section. Will it be ridiculous to subscribe to our channel? If no, please like this video, share, and subscribe to our channel.